Hello, in this tutorial, I'd like to show you how to make use of your calligraphy guideline. Now you should see there's a PDF file that you can print it out, and once it's printed out, it's blank and it's for your own calligraphy practice. Now as you can see that the setup of this calligraphy guideline is exactly the same as the one on your copy sheet. Now if you look at the calligraphy guideline, you can see that it mentions X height is 5 mm and the slant is 55 degrees. Now what it means is that every section here, it's a 5 mm distance. Now in the center where the flower or the X is the X height. And you can see that every single spacing is 5 mm on its own. And in calligraphy, there is an area where we call it the X height, and it is this section right in the middle. This area is called the X height, and this is where most of the alphabets will be sitting on. To be a little bit more specific, there are names for the lines. For this line here, it is called the baseline. Now, the baseline is like the ground level where all the alphabets will be sitting on. And the next one on top of it is called the waistline. This line is literally just above the baseline. And these two lines forms the X height. Now, anything above the X height, we call this area the ascender. And anything below the X height, we call it the descender. I'm going to apply this with dip pen calligraphy and show you what it looks like when we are using the baseline. Now, I'm going to write the capital letter A, and you can see that the capital sits right here on the baseline. It doesn't go below the baseline. Notice that the bottom doesn't go past the baseline. Now, I'm going to write capital B, and it will be the same way. And so as letter C. This is the actual speed that I'm writing, and you can see that I'm writing nice and slowly. Now let's move on to writing some lower cases. I'm going to show you the lowercase a, b, c, and see how they fit within the guidelines. Now as you can see that the lowercase a is currently sitting on the X height. It doesn't go above the ascender nor below the descender. You can see that in the letter B, there's a loop that goes above is the ascender. And I'm going to start writing letter C to show you. It is very similar to letter A. You notice that there is nothing that goes above the ascender, nor anything that goes below the descender. Now let me show you which alphabet will create a descender here. So I'm going to write the letter G. You notice that there is a loop that goes underneath the baseline, and this loop is called a descender. Now let me explain something about ratio. So in the guideline, you have the ascender, the X height, the descender. Now for this guideline, the ratio is what I call a 2-1-2, because in the ascender, you see there are two sections, and then in the X height, there's only one section. And lastly, for the descender, you have a two section. So in this ratio, we call this the 2:1:2. Now finally, let's take a look how we can apply the guideline onto our copy sheets. You can see that the word here is sitting on the baseline, and when you write the letter L, it has an ascender loop that goes above the X height, and they're both loops are above the X height here. Now let's take a look at the word goodbye. You will notice again it sits on the baseline, and then you have a letter B that has the ascender loop that goes above the X height, and the Y has a descender loop that goes below the X height. I really hope that this tutorial helps you to understand the guideline a little bit better.